Yeah, literally. It's all his fault. His fault.
Anyways, all right. So start with a real recap. Um, Intel started out great, or actually went great the whole time. Actually, it was only down a day after we found it, I think, a little bit. Then we saw the 8% run, and then today was another. It started with another 2% day. Then it came back down. But those calls were up huge. I can share my screen of the Discord of the recap I posted in SEP analysis. Hold on. Let me. How do I forward this? 1 second. Trying to get this picture. Or if you just go to SEP analysis in the Discord, I posted that swing trade Mondays are Intel, and there's a picture of the option. I'll just read off it. So we found the option was at $1.74 was the premium per contract. And then as of Friday, not today, as of Friday, the call ran to 3.38. And this was the February 20th 40 call. And this call is now or was earlier on the money. So we took a call that was out of the money. Now it's already in the money pretty quick. Happened quicker than I thought. Then it went to see $1.74 to 3.38, which is a 94% increase in a matter of a couple days or 2 days, not including the weekends. So it was a great trade, and I'm glad to the people who took that. We'll find more of those trades going forward. That's what these meeting sessions are for. Yeah, Eli just posted a picture of his 40 call. We uh, we picked a kind of a far out date, but then again, our analysis we stated we don't know how long this could take. We knew the direction, but we didn't know the time, which is okay. We still made money. We made a good percentage actually. It was over, yeah, 94% increase,
So,
not including today.
question, Anton.
Go ahead.
Did you indicate that you were going to do the 38 call from, and I missed it, so let me start with that, because I was
Oh
busy.
shoot.
I was busy Monday morning, and I came in, and this is, I'll tell you why I missed it. It was when I came
Mm-hmm.
in and I looked at the 38 call for 220. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it actually started out the day at about a buck 80 and went up to 340 on Monday.
Wow. Great run.
Now, I said I missed it. By the time I got in here and
Mm-hmm.
sat on my desk, it was at like 280 or something like that. And
Gotcha.
I'm bad enough at trading as it is without chasing anything. So,
Yeah, it's hard enough to chase it. I apologize if there was a miscommunication with the strike. I thought maybe we started with the 38 strike and then we switched to 40. Maybe that happened.
well, the 40
But I
worked out
think,
as well. I mean, there's no
yeah,
problem necessary, obviously. I
right. I
just
mean, they both worked out, right?
yeah.
Right. So I think yeah, most of us took the 40 call, and I had that labeled on my sheet, the 40 call. But all calls obviously went up. It was great. On the money calls worked just as well as on the money, and our on the money call went on the money today. So it was a great swing for a matter of a couple days, right? And it could still run higher.
Those are
And
the best swings.
right, right. We could have had a huge percentage gain, like a couple 100% or 500% if we did a week out date. But hey, we still made money. We didn't know what the time frame. We knew the direction though, and we were right. We made money. So that's what's about. You can't get too greedy, you know. Guy, you said Valero, Chevron, Phillips 66. Yeah, all the whole oil sector today, as we discussed yesterday in the Sunday meeting, if you guys were there, the whole oil sector had trending tickers today in Yahoo Finance, CNBC. Everyone was searching the energy stocks, and most of them are up big. The ones that weren't were the ones that don't get investment in Venezuela, I suppose. That's why they came down. Like Kinder Morgan was down, a couple other ones. ET, Energy Transfer, those are two big stocks. Those were down. But
Yeah.
ConocoPhillips, we've been watching that for a while since August. Russell even gave analysis on that a couple months ago.
ConocoPhillips
That,
was one of the ones I didn't put it on here because you already have it up there. But these
Yeah.
are these three. Well, Chevron and Phillips 66 both have investments in
Mm-hmm.
Venezuela from before the nationalization of the
Oh.
oil industry in Venezuela. So they've been trying to recoup their losses from that through the
Mm-hmm.
international court, which we know is ineffective. Um, but I would suspect that if we're going to resurge the U.S. investment into the oil industry in Venezuela, these
Mm-hmm.
guys benefit from it because they already have structures that they've invested in there.
Right.
That's just a
Right.
thought surrounding it. I looked it up and then there was news on it as well. So
Great. Yeah. Good find. I did not know they had already investments there, or there was in the process already. Chevron's probably the main beneficiary of this ordeal. We also have some other ones. SLB is a pipeline oil stock. This was up 11% today, I believe, unless it came down a little bit. I had some other potentials. Oxy. We know Warren Buffett's really bullish on this one. Owns most of the company, I believe. BP, British Petroleum. These all look great in the fractal too. That's why I put them there. But Kinder Morgan was down today, unfortunately. It's kind of an old school natural gas name. But these two, I talked about these on Sunday a little bit. The 4U ticker is uranium. All the uranium stocks are up big today. Nuclear, like Eli said, nuclear energy stocks are up big today. CCJ, URA, ETF, a couple other ones. CRML was up big today. Critical Minerals ETF. PCG, and this is Pacific Gas, utility company. Kind of ties it to energy. I believe this looks great in the fractal. I can pull it up in a minute. SPSW is platinum. They refine and produce platinum. I think one of the only stocks that does that for solely platinum. Platinum future's been going crazy. UAMY shares were up. This is United Antimony or not ETF. I think it's a stock. It was up big today. Just rare earth stuff. U.S. rare earths stock was up big today. NXT is solar, kind of ties to the energy. There's been many articles about solar providing support to our energy grid, and lots of investment going to that space too. GH is kind of a secret stock I have. It's more medical based. They have technology that finds cancer cells and detects them right before they're announced that it's cancer in someone's body. So it's pretty revolutionary technology. And these shares look ready for a rally. I'll show that too. So that's all I got on here for now. If you guys have any ideas for potentials, type in the chat or speak up. I will go to the fractal now. I'll
only have
change
one.
my screen. Yeah, go ahead.
If you want to check out Hood,
Yeah, no problem.
that's
I'm
not
opening the
nice.
fractal right now. What makes you pick Hood? Just off the fractal, or is there something
Looks
physical
good on the
happening
Wave
too?
7.
Okay, we'll check that out.
Yeah.
Wave 7. Okay. This looks like it rebounded a little bit.
Yep.
My screen's up, right? Yeah, okay. There we go. Zoom in a little bit.
I like the white space to
Great.
the next imprint.
This here,
Yeah.
135-ish, or right below 135, probably 134 or
Yep.
something. The 133.61, 50% band.
Mhm.
That's great. H1. You see the average move brings us to here. Same level as this open state, 145. That'd be huge. Especially for the options. The options in this thing move pretty big, don't they?
Oh yeah.
Huge. They're pretty expensive, right? The premiums on Hood. I haven't checked it in a while.
I paid. I mean,
a couple dollars for all the
like,
money.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I got
Not a
in
big
when
deal.
like high of day pretty much because it's been up the whole day. But I paid $200 for a 130 call, January 16th expiration.
Got you. And the stock's at right below 120, right? Let's see.
Yeah. Only about one though,
Gotcha.
because I'm kind of chasing him if it goes back down.
Right.
I can
Well, you
grab
had this
more.
K here, just taking off, right? K, then we had an M, and then we finally switched back to K. And anytime we have a K leaving that golden area, we all know what happens here. It gets real explosive real quick.
Yep.
Obviously to the upside. Let's zoom in a little bit. H1, obviously. Yeah, 50% band 133. What's option analyzer? Okay. Some odds for H2. Not a ton, but it can happen. There has been a lot of H1s, see here, and it just flipped red. But if we had more days, let's see if that changes. And there's still a lot of H1s that flip to red after.
Yeah, it's only about one con.
Yeah. Can it continue? We'll have to keep looking at on the fractal here.
Because it did that to me last time. I tried to play the last H1 and it flipped red.
Yeah, so okay, so some stocks have different patterns and histories, right, of this stuff. And this is one of them where Robinhood will make an H1. Yeah, look at this here. Perfect example. H1 right on top of the pivot, and then it immediately went down. This time this H1's above pivot pretty well, right?
Yeah, this time it looks a little bit stronger.
So maybe this time it works out, right? We need to find
Yeah.
some more details if it does. I'll look at wave 10, should be pretty similar. Yeah, see wave 10, the blue line. We need a continued breakout.
With those ones where it flipped. Sorry, my audio is horrible. Have to do with earnings.
Mm-hmm. Earnings. Is there earnings on this soon?
I'm not sure. I mean, SoFi and Robinhood were up big today. I'm not sure why though.
Capital market stocks. Let's see. Earnings. February 10th is next earnings. Yeah, I'm not sure. These are just the volatile stocks, I guess. If the overall market's up, these have a further excuse to rally even harder. I feel like for Robinhood, SoFi,
Well,
high dividends.
Hood was getting some volatility because they were gave out 7 million of gifts out the last week or so. That's why
Oh, is
they
that
got a
what?
little volatility. Yeah, they gave out a ton of money in gifts over like from December 25th to beginning of January.
Oh, so there's something physical going on. So yeah, I didn't know. I don't check Hood much. I don't know what's going on physically. Well, I know it's been on a huge run, right, year to date, or over the past year, rather. It could continue though. Look at this
Yeah, I
K
wish.
here. Just getting started.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I played the intraday vector crossover, but I didn't peep the chart early enough.
Mm-hmm. This is pretty volatile. Isn't there a 2x leverage Hood by ETF?
Probably.
That's something you can
Sure
definitely
there
play.
is.
Fractal. Use like the wave 20, 60-minute swing day to day. Run with the banks, XLF. Yeah. XLF is the financial ETF. We can look at that too. Yeah, this looks like a continue though. It has definitely some strength. It was up 7% today. Definitely a good day. I'll look at the wave 20 real quick. That's interesting. 80% being at 130. Okay. Going back down the golden zone here. Potentially another K. Yeah, so this has been below pivot for a little bit on the higher time frames. Going for H1 here on wave 50. This might be hard to load. Put 2,000 days. This tells you like the flow of the stock longer term. Look at this. It's coming back up to test that vector. We see this all the time. I feel like every time I present, I show this where price on the underlying comes back up and tests the vector in a longer time frame. Happens all the time. Like here, price broke under vector and I came back up. Now it's challenging again. That'll decide the longer term fate direction of this. So
Up that 146.
that looks good. That's good. All right. Well, I probably personally would trade this now. I just don't know enough yet. I mean, it kind of looks good in the wave 10, wave 7. Regarding that K assignment, I just, with the options analyzer, I'm a little puzzled with those H1s mainly flipping red. I feel like this is one of the stats are kind of unpredictable sometimes. You know, you go on a huge run and then all of a sudden something else happens.
It is good.
I don't know. But yeah, well, that's a good one to start with. We can keep looking. Some other stuff.
We should.
We can look at. Let's look at COP real quick. I wanted to look at. I never looked at this before today. I wanted to. Let's see, because I showed this last, or was it Sunday? Yeah. So it's above purple vector. It's going for the H1 here. Yeah, COP looks great for longs. I mean, it's been under pivot for a long time. We went over this already, August of 2024. This is definitely a rebound name. And with the Venezuela stuff, this will continue to help stocks like COP. So, wave 10.
You enjoy your bottle, baby? Yeah.
What's that? Big Mac, did you say something? Oh, he's muted. Okay, he was on mute. All right. Let's see. Yeah, so K here, it's been explosive. The explosiveness is just now starting. Broke above this gray area. If it could continue to go higher, it could definitely hit these open states really quick. That could be something. Oh, no problem, Big Mac. You're good. All right. Can look at what else do I have on my sheet for potentials. Oh yeah, I'll show GH. This is something I'm probably buy shares in really soon here. The cancer detection technology company. Do I have it on here? No. All right. Let's see how this looks. I have not checked this on the Fractal yet. Physically, I know the story behind this is good. So now we check it on the Fractal. Wave 7. Way above pivot. I had a kind of a big day today. It was up, then it was down, ended up a little bit. We can see this average move play out, close at open state. Or this will turn red down here to standard deviation. We'll have an M assignment, it'll come down. Let's look at wave 10. Oh. Yeah, this K could just be getting started. This is somewhat of a newer stock. Let me show this on linear chart real quick too, so you get a better idea. 1 second, I'll change my screen. Change screen. Okay. All right. Guardant Health, GH. $13 billion company, so that's a mid cap. Look at the 5-year. It's just coming back. Make it come back. All-time charts. This was IPO'd in 2018, so newer stock. And it's just now starting to make some more noise. I believe it came down because borrowing costs rose in 2022 because of higher rates. You can see that coming down. They're borrowing money for expand their operations and research and that. And now it bottomed out 2024 to 2025. Now into 2025, it's starting to make a run back. And this thing's pretty volatile. It has some pretty big moves. Linear chart was great. Now it's kind of consolidating. Anytime I see a stock like this in a linear chart, I know it's building a base, I guess, when it plateaus like this. It's consolidating. We'll see expansion soon, either sharply higher or sharply lower. Anytime I have a base like this, just look at this linear chart. So it has received some upgrades, like right here. Gardner Health price target raised to 120 from 100 at Bank of America. So that's good. It's been raised by multiple institutions like Bank of America in terms of price. It's kind of like a Tempest AI, if you heard of Tempest AI. Like kind of like tech medical. So let's continue to look at the fractal now. This is something I'll probably buy shares in this week, I'm guessing. As long as nothing changes in terms of the narrative. All right. So let's go through wave 20. So here, prices, obviously, trying to decide if it wants to H1, which is not too far away, or it'll continue to come down here, set bound this gray area, and potentially close this 89.89. Couple open states there, a lot of imprints there. So we're at the 80% band. It rose back above that today. We got M here. So red, green, red, green. So it's trying to figure out which direction it wants to explode to. And it's green now. Once we see a K, that can indicate that day over day expansion, and then go with that H1. Not huge odds for L2, instead of L1, as you can see there. Yeah, I'll add some more days though. But like I said, this was IPO to 2018, so there's not a ton of data with newer stocks like this one, but there's enough. Yeah, not look at the L2 compared to H1. Not a ton of odds for lows at all, really. Ones and twos of occurrences. So this goes to show after when we're at L2 and just in general, it's a pretty good buy area regarding this. There's not many occurrences. After 5, we have 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2. 2 was 2s and 1s, so that looks pretty good. We can go to wave 50. This has been an expansion cycle for a while on wave 50. This, I might add some more days. It could potentially be a target beyond this open state here at 112. Yep, look at that. 122.55. So that's what it's targeting right there. I can already tell. And we had, I'll label this. This right here is compression. Now we have a little bit of consolidation here, right? And soon we'll have expansion either to that, or we'll make a new low somewhere in here below the new pivot. And we have a price suggestion, which is 84.51, just off of average data. So since it's consolidating, this is a good time to buy stock, in my opinion, and play for that 122.55 open state. Let's see, the stock is at 101 to 122, 20% return. Be pretty great. That's probably what I'm hoping for here. I'll probably place a trade on this sometime this week, like I said, as long as it's not up too big, and go for that 122. I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. And if it does compress more, and I'm wrong about the current direction, I'll just continue to hold the stock. Like I said, I've done some research on this. There's not many companies like this at all. It's pretty groundbreaking technology. There's not much like this out there. Like I said, it's technology that detects cancer cells early on, like as soon as they start within a person's body. So very important stuff. Lots.
They use AI for that.
That's a good question. This was before AI got big. I'm gonna search that up because I think they do. I know there's Tempest AI, which is a little bit different. This is like this focus for GH is to detect cancer cells early on. I'm gonna look this up real quick. That was GH, which probably even better, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all these companies nowadays to say they're using AI, then they soar, right? There's Garden Health. 1 second. Use AI. Let's see. Yeah. Yes, Garden Health extensively uses artificial intelligence, AI, and machine learning across its precision oncology platform for biomarker discovery, drug development, analyzing genomic data, improving test accuracy, and enhancing clinical decision making for cancer patients. They integrate AI through partnerships like Zephyr AI, Luna, Coda, and their own platforms, Garnet, Galaxy, combining AI with real-world data to find new drug targets and predict therapy responses. Okay, so they have a platform too that's AI-based that tells the patient like where to go from there too. So these guys have a lot of great technology regarding finding cancer cells early on and then combating them too.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so interesting. This might be like a long-term hold of mine.
Yeah,
Fractal, like I said, looks good. Wave 50. Let me look at some other waves. It's been a big run the past few months since this past fall. But if you look at the 5-year linear chart, like I just showed you guys, it's recovering after borrowing costs got expensive from 2022 rate hikes. And now that there's rate cuts and more rate cuts to come, borrowing money becomes less or more inexpensive.
Less expensive. Yeah.
Less expensive, yes. Sorry. So, which is better for a company like this, a mid cap that wants to borrow money to expand their platform and things they do. So, we gotta be open state up above here too. Let's see. Some more days. Maybe not. Oh, oops. Just gotta fix that. All right. I'm gonna wait 200. Maybe there's no open state above the current price for wave 200. Sometimes that happens. But again, this is like a newer stock, IPO in 2018. So yeah, this is good though. I'm like it. What do you guys think so far?
I like it. I mean, with the next rate decision,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's anticipated they're not going to cut rates this time. Do you think that'll maybe
True.
affect the stock a little bit for a pullback entry?
That's possible. Even for the whole market, I guess, if Powell waves off, no rate cut this time, January. But I will say, what I was thinking is Trump wants somebody, the next Fed chair, to be someone who wants more rate cuts. So,
Yeah.
right, so there could be more rate cuts in the future, I guess, beyond January, February. I think Powell is gone, what, March or something?
Pretty soon.
Or
Yeah,
before
somewhere
that?
around March, a little
Right,
March,
right.
and then he has March, and then
Okay.
he has a few weeks before the other guy gets in.
Yeah, so coming up pretty quick. So yeah, that'll be interesting. Let's see what happens there. We might not get any more rate cuts until a new Fed chair. Who knows? Depends what happens to the economy and the data we get. So this is something I wanted to share. That's basically about it. This is something I'll probably buy shares in, like I said, this week, as long as it's not up giant. Go for that 122. I probably won't have a stop loss on shares, right? Because I believe in it. And I'll hold it long term if I need to. All right. I go over some other stuff. Let's see. PayPal was what I talked about in the sub analysis chat. That didn't work out right away, but now it's starting to work out, I believe. It was up 2% today, I think. Let's see. Yeah. Kind of like SoFi, a lot of the financial related stocks or the lending stocks are up today for some reason. So I found this, I believe, like this candle here. You can see my screen, right? Okay. Here, and then it kind of compressed more than expected. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes the stock takes longer than expected to compress, so it can have a sharp expansion, and that's what could happen here. We have a 2% day. Look at it revised right off this gray percent area, so that's good for entry, right? We know if it gets below this gray area, it's going way more down, and then vice versa up here. Let's look at the options analyzer. Oh, let's look some more days real quick. Well, let's look at the options analyzer. This L18, which had a 3% odd of happening. 3% odds. One occurrence.
Ready for reversion.
And then look at this H6, right? So we can see just based on statistics, this thing wants a H1 and most likely will get an H1 and soon. So this could be something we could play too. I got stopped out.
Like,
I stopped myself out of calls actually. Like a little bit of loss because I saw more compression coming, I guess, last week. We're gonna say something, Eli, my bad.
yeah, I was gonna say sometimes with the Wave 7, it'll look good at a certain point, but it won't work out until the next week. And
Right.
then that's when the nice move actually happens. Like on SoFi, that's what happened to me. I tried to long it as a reclaimed vector, but once it reverted above pivot, it kind of just chopped around, came back below pivot, and then fired another K, and that's when I entered the second time, and I made 300%. So sometimes you gotta be patient.
Right. Yeah, and like you showed earlier, you initially entered one contract or just entered a light entry or start position, a starting position.
Yeah,
That's basically what you got to do with this stuff when it's compressing because you're kind of catching the falling knife. You don't know the exact bottom, but you know the area, right?
exactly.
So that's definitely a good approach for something like this. You don't want to go heavy right here and then have it compress down and then be up. Like we said before, it's all about the entry. If you have a good entry, it most likely can't go wrong. Today, like this morning or Friday, was a great entry off of this great area. And we had some support there off those green dots right there. If you can see those, is 0%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
0%.
never
Yeah,
tried trying to call the bottom, I guess you could say, on those Wave 7 setups. Like if they're testing average percent or 20% band, 10% band.
You're right, because
I feel like it's just
look at
it's
this.
just a little risky.
Right. Like you could have predicted try to predict the bottom here at this candle when it hit the bottom of this gray area. It went up a little bit initially, then look, it came way down. It compressed even more.
Yeah. See.
Right, that's brutal. They can wipe you out right there. All that compression. It worked here, kind of, right? Went up a little bit,
Yeah,
came back
man.
down. Looked kind of scary, but then it came back up. So sometimes you
You'll
gotta see it
basically
play
have to
out a little bit.
use you'll
Mhm.
basically have to use like an imprint as your stop loss.
Definitely. Percent bands, all that. Yeah, look at the percent bands. It stopped at 2% down here. Right here, it stopped at 50%. Over here, it fell below 50% and bottomed at the 20% down here. And it all depends on the imprints and the support, the buy orders, all that stuff. So,
Yeah. If it's a thick one, I'd trust it a little more.
right.
Stacked imprints.
Mm-hmm. Wave 10's kind of similar story. Let's see. Yeah, we can go over Apple a minute. I'll finish up on this real quick. We had an M here for a while. We have some green now. This black dot indicates a squeeze, so we kind of squeezed higher a little bit today. We didn't end at the high of day, but we ended green by 2%, I believe, or around there for PayPal stock. This on the options analyzer probably looks similar. L13, and beyond that, there's not much odds, percentage, or occurrences of lower lows compared to this H1 here. 8 occurrences. H1's always 100% gonna occur at some point. So this looks good. This is something maybe enter tomorrow. Physically, we know PayPal is becoming a bank now, I suppose. Maybe like an online bank. I have to read about it more. But they're getting into banking and more loans and all that type of stuff. So it could be more business, and more if there's more business, more earnings, and all that, then the stock shares go up. So this could be something.
Something we keep on the watch list.
Yeah, I have this on my personal watch list. So
If it's hanging above vector, take a stab.
Right. Wave 50. I'll look at the higher time frames real quick. Look at this. Pretty heavy compression history here. It made kind of a double bottom here on these green dots that support. It broke through those, but see how we had a stop there, came back up, and then we compressed all the way back down. Now we're back down to the support area. So if we break below this current area of this candle here, we can definitely see price come down here to hit the support here and hopefully stop. There's probably percentage bands somewhere right in here. Yep, right there. 20% at 51.70. Standard deviation is nothing near the golden zone, 0.5. But yeah, Ron, we'll need some good news for this. Right, this has been a dead stock for a while. I can show you the linear chart. It's been dead for a while. You haven't seen it already. Definitely a rebound play. And we know interest rate cuts in the future can help this a lot, and not in the whole financial sector. As they cut rates, business or more loans and more deals get made when rates are cut. That's how I think about it. Wave 100, another support area. So we have the rebound. We have much sharper drop, 10% band there at 47.82 open state. Look at these real quick, then we look at something else. That's interesting. Yeah, so something good would have to start this rally for PayPal. I would still take a chance on wave 7, wave 10 though, from what we just saw. It looks good on the options analyzer too.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I will say lastly, for PayPal, wave 200, we're at this major support level, this green dots, and we're right above the edge of this gray area, which has an imprint. So, which is about 55.70. PayPal is at 59.29. The stock. So it could fall another couple dollars. Let me do this. Yeah, about $4. And then we could see reversion for longer term off that imprint and that gray average percent area. A lot of times you'll see the price kind of just bounce from channel to channel. Like over here, see how price stopped out right here on top of this gray area? And it comes all the way down and hits the bottom of this. And then it goes back up and it waits for some catalyst to break it outside the gray area. So that's something that can definitely occur too. But yeah. All right. I know someone want to look at Apple. I can check that out unless someone else wants to view something else first. Let's pull up wave 7. Wave 7's, like I said, is always my go-to for swing trading. I think you probably agree, Eli. Look at wave 7 a lot.
Oh, yeah. I read the wave 7.
Yeah. Apple, we've been looking at Apple quite a bit. It was obviously down today. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if anyone knows why. In here, I don't know. Let's see, it was down 1.38. Down a little bit after hours too. Which is interesting because QQ was up 0.80 today, and all the indices are up. So Apple being a laggard tells me there's probably some selling going on, some big selling. A lot of times when the market's down big, people rush into Apple for safety. Just historically, it's been like that. And today it was a laggard, which is kind of surprising. We've been in the compression cycle for some time. It briefly made H1 here. See weakness. Oh, looks like my screen's frozen. 1 second. All right.
Yep. I was partying when the H1 was alive and well, and then
Yeah.
it died.
Yeah, it didn't last long at all.
I had to stop out.
It pulled a Robin Hood, right?
Literally.
Yeah, see, made a nice high, 277, that came back down, closed under pivot.
Pretty
Anytime
wild,
you see a
though.
day like this where it runs, like probably in the morning, makes a high, like it did, and then close under pivot for the day, that most of the time shows another day of downside coming that we saw here. From just what I've seen, most cases. Standard deviation shows leaving the golden zone. This could just be started with further compression. So where does this go next? You can throw the percentage bands on. I failed to take that 80% band. I was down to the other 80% band. Next, we have this 50%. We have open state at 251. So if this weakness continues, you could definitely perform what we saw here, this blue line, this average, and close this open state, which would be a pretty big move lower. Oh, $20 lower. Let's look at the options analyzer. All right. So L8. It's kind of interesting when I see this. There's not much occurrences of L9, L10, any of these, but L12 randomly, right? 3 occurrences. And there's not much odds of H1. So there's more occurrences of L12 than there is H1. Kind of interesting. Even though H1 happens, we know it's going to happen 100% of the time. It's going to happen at some point. Occurrence-wise, there's been more L12s than H1, just by one more, but still, should more. There's 4 H2s, kind of weird column setup, I guess. I'll add some more days, see if it changes a little bit, changes the picture. Okay. So now we have more odds of the H1. That's why you always gotta add some more days. Get better luck. Definitely possible though, L9, if the weakness continues. Oh, I'm not sure. So far with what I'm looking at, I would not look for entry long on Apple. I'll tell you that.
Yep.
Though I'm not rushing
Say
for
the
the short
same
side
thing.
either. A lot of open states there. We got 2 open states there. If we see something obvious, like we say before, the obvious trades are the ones you want to take and definitely put more money on. If we break below this great average area line, it'd be clear to me or obvious that if we see some more compression and close at 251 and potentially beyond lower. All right, see you, George. Thanks for joining in. All right. Let's look at some higher time frames though. L10. Look at that. It denied the vector. We had all that compression, price got above vector, and price was too weak to stay above this purple vector, and it ultimately fell lower. And we have these open states here. 50%, 265. This to me says there's more compression on the horizon.
Yeah, it may trickle down.
Mm-hmm.
Looking likely.
Like we can definitely get an H1 soon, but I would say more compression first. That's what it's looking like especially after today's performance lagging the market by a lot. Market was up 1% and Apple is down 1.30, negative 1.30. So kind of interesting. Wave 20. It almost closed this double bottom. 265 was at 64. 265.64. Standard deviation, golden zone. We've been in the M for some time. Still hasn't broken out of golden zone. Sometimes you gotta be careful too when standard deviations in the golden zone like this. Even though we've been red, it can all of a sudden print green, right? And then have a K off of just some news that comes out. Or we'll see red break out. So sometimes you gotta wait for that to happen too. You don't want to get caught in the opposite direction of that. I have before, and it's not pretty. I'll go to wave 50. Yeah, look at this. This is starting a larger compression cycle, in my opinion. We've been the K since summer of this year. And now we're back in the golden zone with some red showing. And we broke under purple vector.
Yeah, in the shorter time frames, it looks like the downside cycle is getting drawn out, but on the wave 50, it looks like it's about to start a new one.
Right. That's something. That's why I gotta check them all, like I say. It is good, has some good compression. Or we see reversion off this purple vector. It finds a bunch of support, and we'll just have to see what happens.
Oh, it hasn't lost yet. Oh, I thought it lost.
Right. Mm-hmm. It closes open
that
state.
level will be important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of times never closes open state that's been open for a while. It's 2024. Closed, now it's compressing. So let's see, let me pull this out a little bit. Look at this. So here we created open state back in 2023. Price finally closed it here, 2024. Look what happened right after it closed the open state from 2023. Immediately compressed, but it didn't just continue to fall. It had some volatility for a while, and then it came down. So similar pattern here, right? Now we have a open state that was created in 2024, closed last month, and now we're seeing compression like we have here. So it's a pattern you can see right here. So something like this will probably play out, I'm guessing. I don't see why Apple would crash or sell off largely unless something very unexpected happens with their business. It'd be super rare for Apple to fall apart when the market's doing this good, in my opinion. So that's interesting. Apple earnings January 29th. Yeah, that could bring some volatility like this right here.
Yeah.
You know, it could be something with silver. Isn't silver going iPhones, right? So the price of iPhones could be getting excuse me, unaffordable,
Inflated.
right?
Oh, wow.
Inflated. Excuse me. Yeah. So maybe someone that knows something's selling shares of Apple. Who knows? Before earnings, right? So, but look at this. We have an open state at 300. Might be a huge move. Maybe we see something like this volatility here, and then it goes to try close 300.51. Look at that, though, this macro trend, standard deviation. It's at the extreme level. Last time we hit extreme over here, back in 2024. It went sideways for a little bit, the standard deviation, but look what happened to price. We had a huge compression, quick compression, or sharp sell-off right here, then it rebounded. So anytime standard deviation is in the extreme, whether it's green or red, you always see sharp spikes of the opposite occur. Just something to remember. If this is red and we're at the extreme, you can see sharp upside. And now we're seeing extreme green over here, which indicates sharp downside in the short term, potentially. So something just to look out for. You know, look at the wave 200. It's right there at 11.5, which is pretty extreme. It doesn't go beyond that. It's not measurable beyond that in this system. So, and look, it could perform this blue line. Look at that. Standard deviation is too extreme for price to squeeze up there to 308. So maybe it doesn't have the strength to close at 308 and falls and then it could follow this blue line path. And we could close open states here, like a double bottom or that 80% band. Yeah, 80% band there. Something of that nature could happen for Apple. So it could get interesting here. I would not be long Apple, especially over day-to-day basis because of this extreme level. So I'm probably not going to take longs on this. I'll tell you that. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not going to take longs on Apple. Unless something unexpected happens that's really good. And then standard deviation just goes sideways. But from what I've seen, we'll have a sharp downside occurrence happen because we're so extreme in standard deviation. So that's what I think about that. So we're not picking Apple. All right. Anyone have any other stocks to check? Anything else anyone wants to try to swing? Options or stock? I said GH, which I'm really confident on for shares. That'll happen this week. But as for options, I have not said what I'm sure on yet. There is NVO, Novo, which I had analysis on in the step analysis chat. Look at this. It's up 5% today, or a little over 5%. I found Novo when it was over here. I knew it was going to compress a little bit more. I wasn't sure how much longer.
Oh, wow.
And it happened pretty quick. If you look at my self-analysis pictures, the picture will show like it was like over here, one of these candles. That's where I found it. I knew the direction. I didn't know the timing. I did not take a trade on this. I don't think it's too late to, but I want to enter calls right now since they're up so big from today's upside, 5%. But this is a big rebound name. Like, let's look at the longer term. I'll show you for the people that have not seen this yet. Yeah, look at the wave 100. So, made this low, 296 low. I met all the support here. These green dots, 2% band. Yep, 2% band there. So now it's looking like it bottomed, right, so far. So what happened is they announced the launch of their Wegovy drug, which is an oral weight loss drug. This company is out of Denmark, and Denmark's economy heavily relies on this company and stock to do well. And if I show you the linear chart, or you can just see off this, it has not performed that well since 2024. It's been compressing for a year, or a little over a year. So it's finally made a comeback with their new drug. This company makes and sells Ozempic. I think everyone knows Ozempic, right?
Oh,
That's Novo, NVO, Ozempic, which is a huge. That's why this thing was up so big a couple years ago. This is Ozempic, and something happened to Ozempic. I think I don't know why it came down that hard. It was their competitor Eli Lilly launched something. Their biggest
could have been
competitor is
like
Eli Lilly.
Oscar and Hims. Probably
Yeah.
Oscar.
Some competition came by and their sales kind of dropped, I think, for Ozempic. But everyone knows Ozempic. So if they can make something like that, they can make more drugs that are successful. And that's their Wegovy drug that just launched in the US, I believe, was the article that made the stock jump 5% today. So this is something I'm continuing to watch. I would be pretty confident or feeling safe to have a lot of money on this for long term. Maybe like next January calls, something that's way out. Because Denmark's economy depends on this. So there's definitely a lot of pressure from people in that country and the board members to do something, right, to get this rebound. So I can look at the short term real quick. Ron said Qualcomm. I can look at Qualcomm, yeah. It's funny, I first found Qualcomm in fall of 2018. I was researching it. That's when I started like trading, I guess, like fall of 2018. It was trading at $85 a share. And now it's at, what is it, like 170. So that's been a good hold the past years. I thought it was going to run more like Apple, but they have a lot of investment in Saudi Arabia. Qualcomm does. All their businesses there. Okay, so Novo, wave 7. We had look at this compression here. This is always interesting when we have compression like this. It staircase down back into the gray area, and then immediately gets explosive and shoots back up. And look at these two open states. Now that the price is up beyond this gray area, it kind of has an excuse to close these open states and all these imprints. So Once it proves that it is an outlier, it most likely will continue to be an outlier for some time. This thing becomes an outlier when it breaks beyond the gray area. So I would expect these open states to close. As far as time, I'm not sure, but they can definitely close pretty quick. 5% in there. And then we'll have a reversion down here. And the standard deviation looks like it's just getting started. Wave 3. Yeah, above gray area again. I got wave 10 yet. Yeah, same thing. Two open. Look at the average move lines up right these two open states, or this open state here, 58. So the stock will probably continue to rally off the good news today. And yeah, that's it for Novo, I'd say. We look at Qualcomm now. All right. Oh, all right. Wave 1. So this shows today it was a kind of like the other stocks. It was up a little bit and it came back down. It wicked up here, tried breaking beyond this gray area. It tried becoming an outlier. And look what happened last time it did that right here. It turned into L1. Let's look at the options analyzer. Look at that. High H3, which would be another high, compared to L1. Right. It's pretty obvious there. So wave 1, this should go lower. Like I did here. Not a lot, but at least like something like this. That's what I'm expecting.
Some kind of pullback.
Yeah, a little bit. And it could be a pullback where like it's down in the morning, then all of a sudden it shoots back up throughout the rest of the day. A lot of times we'll see that. Qualcomm can move pretty big. So, but yeah, wave 3 looks good. It's at H1. Like I said, for wave 1, it pulling back, it could pull back and hit this purple vector for support and then rise. So we'll see that a lot. A lot of times we'll get H1, price will be above the vector, then come down and make it L1 on the purple vector, and then go higher. Purple vector is support in this case. And then it can make that average move. I'll go wave 7 here. Yeah, this looks good. So, K assignment here, golden zone, H1. Like I said, for wave 1, it'll make that L1, but not a big pullback. That's not what I'm seeing in the odds. This will continue to stay long. Let's go to options analyzer. Yeah, there's some odds there for H2. Let's do it. Wave 10. Yeah, this K is just getting started, gold zone. So like I said, with that wave 1, I'll make an L1, have a small dip. Maybe in the morning, it's down, and then you see it rest of the day rally. I see that happen all the time. And it happens because in the morning it'll go down, hit that purple vector on whatever wave. And then once it does that for support, it'll then go expand after. This K here shows we're in expansion cycle.
Might play this.
1,000 days. What was that? Sorry.
I might play this. Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you can get a good entry, you should
Yeah,
type
especially
in
if you
the
get a pullback.
option. Type in the option in the fractal and look for.
Oh, I haven't tried that yet, actually.
Yeah.
Usually, I'm just doing thinkorswim. Premium
Yeah,
variable
right.
vector. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Looking for a
That's
side exit or
pretty good
something.
too. Mm-hmm. That works out enough at the time. We could look at Splice for Qualcomm after this. I'm gonna click through the waves first. For the sake of trying to get entry tomorrow, like you said, Eli, we can go to Splice and see what can happen. Not just tomorrow, but the following days too. This looks like some explosiveness though. Like I said, this company has a lot of investment going on in Saudi Arabia. So some sort of news could come out of there to prompt this explosion. Yeah, I can take a look at Google after for sure. 1 minute. I'll click through this first. I'm gonna write Qualcomm down for potential, as you guys should too. Just write down the potentials. And then maybe as I'm clicking through Fractal, you guys look at the options chain and find something you would consider playing. Let's go wave 20. If someone can pull up Qualcomm and just research it for a minute and see if there's any physical news on the stock or that's going to be on the horizon as I click through the Fractal, that'd be great. Like I said, you got to check it all. The technicals in the physical world of it all. Wave 20, so the red's back down here in the golden zone. So this tells me price has to make its mind up on what it wants to do next. It almost performed the average move, this blue line, pretty close. And see how it's taken a while? It's more, the candle width is pretty wide compared to the blue line. And for what I'm seeing, just looking at the fractal over time, the longer it takes price to follow the average move, the sharper the next move will be. So, and it's kind of like the longer it compresses, the sharper the expansion. I see compression here, right? A little bit. I'd call that compression. Let's see, Coro steered something. Qualcomm executive sells over 577,000 in company stock. That's not anything crazy for Qualcomm, $100 billion company. Qualcomm shares rise 1.6%, expands Google partnership, noted for investment. Yes, that's good. Qualcomm unveils next generation robotics platform in Dragonine IQ10 at CES. Okay, yeah, so there's CES going on. A lot of companies are involved in that. Okay, yeah, I appreciate you posting those, both of you guys. So we'll see some expansion here. We could close that open state, or we break below the new pivot and have a cycle below a new pivot and come down here by the 80% band. Let's pull it up. Yep, 172. So Qualcomm has to make its mind up here. Let's look at the options analyzer real quick. I don't remember if I did for wave 20. That's kind of weird. Like the H2, one occurrence. For 1,000 days, we see all these ones. Kind of odd. I'll load some more. Interesting. Not a whole ton of occurrences for H2. The highs are above the 50%. Okay. We'll keep looking at some stuff. Oh, guy posted fire displays for Qualcomm. The options analyzer. So we're at L3, L4, 3 occurrences. Okay, H1. Interesting.
That was 1,000 days to load too.
1,000 days in lows. Awesome.
Took 1,000 days to get anything beyond the L3.
Wow. Seems there's not a lot of occurrences for both sides for that many days. It's kind of odd. Every stock is different. It's kind of interesting. Wait, 50. One second. All right. Yeah, so it's been going sideways for some time. So like I said, price needs to make up its mind here. We can see price expand and perform an outlier, right? Or it can perform what this blue line suggests. The 80% band and beyond. Lots of support there. So we'll see a decision on Qualcomm pretty soon here. Pull this up a little bit. Still in the golden zone. No assignment yet. I'm not too certain on either side yet. I'll tell you that. Nothing's too obvious to me just yet. The best trades are the obvious ones, obviously, like Intel. Back in the golden zone. We've been in a cave for a while. Since July. Yeah, all the same things. Open state way up there. Okay. Yeah, so like I said, price will make its mind up. I'll try to go for that 205.95 open state. Or revise lower. It can hit the 80% band. And potentially beyond lower. Let's look at wave 200. It's kind of just in the middle, below, between pivot and this open state. I'm not too sure. I'm not too confident on either side yet for Qualcomm. I'm not sure what you guys think. Let me look at the valuation of this. I want to say it's like a 25 PE. I'm just curious. Okay, this thing's trading 35 times earnings, which is pretty high. Earnings date February 4th. Oh, so this was 8 hours ago. Qualcomm unveils PC chip humanoid robotics initiative at CES 2026. So it already had a presentation about a PC chip and humanoid robotics. So why isn't it up more? 2%. I mean, 2% is pretty good, but the overall market was up. Why is it not even higher? I would think off of something that's that important, it'd explode higher potentially. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not too sure about Qualcomm. It's definitely. I'll put it down though. Record it for potential. All right. Anything else to look at?
I think you're gonna do Goog next.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep. Someone want to see Google. Sure. Thanks for reminding me. We'll start on, work our way up. like I usually do. Was this stock up today? I think it was barely up.
It's
Yeah.
a little flat.
0.63. It was up 0.63 today. Okay. All right. Hey, Guy, would you like to pull up the, or would you like to post the splice for Google while I look through the fractal of the waves? Yeah, beyond wave 1. Since you're splicing for Qualcomm. Wave 3, H1. Let's add some more days here. Wow.
Oh wow. A lot of occurrences of H4, H5
Yeah, you're right. A lot of currencies there. It's kind of interesting.
likes to break out.
Like pretty steady, besides the H2. Interesting. Let's look at our favorite wave 7.
Let's see. Okay.
Yeah. K was assigned.
That one could squeeze up.
Friday was assigned. The occurrences of L2. More than anything else. Let's do 1,000 days though. Still a lot of occurrences of L2. Huh. Okay, so Guy posted the Google Friday splice, 1,000 days. Look at that. It's pretty clear. Right, L2 for the splice. Not many occurrences for or H2, sorry. Not many occurrences for H2 or H3. So we can see L1 soon. I know Warren Buffett bought a stake in Google or increased shares, whatever he did a couple months ago, Q3. Definitely a rival to NVIDIA now. AI and all that. We know Google has one of the biggest cash piles of any company out there. So lots of CapEx. On the Fractal side, there's open state there at 328.67. Pretty close to that already. We can assume price is going for that open state. Standard deviation is not too high. Kind of right there in the middle. Yeah, look at the standard deviation here, like I said a little bit ago. When it gets to extreme, I see price compress or sharply drop. Something like that occurs. We have some good compression there, actually. This is actually one of my compression expansion plays. I just never got really serious about it. I was thinking calls somewhere in here, and then it continued to compress. I just didn't take them, but you can see we finally stopped here, and then we expanded higher. And we could continue to expand to that 328. Beyond that, at 2,000 days, it's 388.37. That's always a possibility in the longer run. 383. See, look at that extreme standard deviation. I just never feel confidently about longs when I see something like that. The green standard deviation be that extreme. Reminds me, didn't Apple just show for wave 150 and wave 200? Same thing. Standard deviation was that high, extreme. So that's the second big stock, Apple, Google, which are mega cap stocks, the blue chip stocks that really run this market higher. They could be getting topped out in price potentially. That's what standard deviation is telling us on the higher waves. So potentially we stay away from Apple and Google in the Mag 7 stocks. Look at that. Wave 200. Right there at 11.5. See guy posting on a Friday splice chart. Awesome.
Yeah, what stood out to me there was the number of resistance imprints above the pivot and directly above,
Awesome.
indicating just what we were talking about earlier, the strong possibility of an L1 coming soon.
Yeah. That's what I would think happens next. I'm not going to bet on that. I'm not too confident either side. For Google, I'm probably not going to take a trade either way. I don't see anything obvious. The whole goal of this swing trade session is to find something obvious, right? For longevity, we need to take obvious trades, not guess on what's going to happen next, like Milk explained last time. We all want to guess. Intel was pretty clear, we can argue, and look what it did. I'm not seeing anything too clear about Google and Apple. I see both sides of the story that could happen. I just don't know. And I don't want to short them necessarily, because if you're shorting Apple and Google, you're kind of shorting the market too, inputs. I don't want to do that. So I'm thinking I would probably pass on both Apple and Google so far. But like I said earlier, that GH stock, I plan to pick up shares of that based on what I showed you guys. See, Ron said Amazon. Yeah, we can look at some other ones that are big. Amazon, Meta, the main ones, right?
Amazon was pretty strong today.
Was it? Well, how much was it up?
Well, when I looked at it on TOS, it was above both ATRs, holding pretty well.
Okay.
And above Vector too, maintaining above Vector on the wave 7.
Got you. All right, guy, I need a splice for Amazon. I'll continue to look at this. Wave 1.
I think it's in the golden zone too, last time I checked.
Golden zone for what time frame?
Wave 7.
Okay. GLD, yeah, we can check GLD soon after Amazon. Yeah, you're right. We had a brief M, now okay, printing green, golden zone. It's kind of interesting. Short compression there. Came down, but then downside immediately was rejected, capped off with this today's upside. So, which is a new H1. Look at let's add some more days first. Pull up the options analyzer. Not a ton. I'm kind of surprised more occurrences for H3 than H2, but doesn't mean H2 can't happen. I personally like to find something like PayPal, like I showed earlier, that's been compressing for a while, and it finally receives the fuel to rebound. And then I click the options analyzer, and the option analyzer supports that thesis. Those are the best trades for me. So far tonight for options, I'm thinking PayPal upside. and then GH shares. I'll tell you that, but let's keep looking. Okay, guy posted Amazon, Friday splice, L1, got 13 occurrences of L2, but more occurrences of H1. Huh. All right, well, yeah, thanks for posting those splices, appreciate it. Wave 20, all right. It looks like today's action capped off the downside that briefly happened. But we got to find the data that further supports that. We can't just assume that. Okay, look at the occurrences for H2. Same occurrences of H1 that was recorded. There's definitely some odds for H2 to follow. Not too big of a H1. I will say sometimes it gets pretty violent when you see a flip that happened that quickly from M to K, like that. Brief M, a little bit red, now K. Sometimes it can just continue flipping. It'll go M again, K. And that tells me something's brewing. Be like K, M, K, all in the golden zone for some time. Tells me something could be brewing, right? I like to see what happens when it leaves the golden area. A lot of times, a great entry is when you see the green and the K take off from the golden zone and just hop on that and just play long and go with the flow. It's always a great strategy too. Like Visa, I saw that for wave 20. Looks like this. It had a K. Standard deviation was green, printing green. And it was just about taking off from golden zone. And the stock was up 5% off of an upgrade from some institution. The calls that are a month out were up 287% or something. I still bought into them, held for a day, and made another 80% on the premium, which is pretty good for one day holding that 1 month out contract. Sometimes you just gotta find the direction, you gotta find the flow, the current of the underlying, and just go with it. Yeah, thank you, Guy, for posting all those charts. We appreciate it. Wave 50, red. Gosh, I don't know. Is there any news going on with Amazon that I don't know? I don't really follow Amazon myself. Could be going for that open state there, 258.
The only thing I've heard on Amazon lately is the brick and mortar medical facilities they're supposedly putting up.
Okay.
And I didn't see the news report, but my wife told me about it, so we know it's true.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely. And I know personally, I just read off of something on Amazon that may now have 1 million robots in their workforce, moving packages and conveyor belts, all that. So if you think about it, they have less real employees, less people, more robots working, which lessens their overhead. It expands their margins because they're not paying these robots, right? They're not paying the robots to do the work as they were to people. So their margins expand, earnings expand. So they're cost cutting, right? So we know their business itself is getting better financially, valuation wise. We see the PE come down. Investment wise, maybe it's a good time to be long Amazon for the rise of robots. I know they're working with a company, SYM Symbiotic Robot Company, had a contract with Amazon. Yeah. In the green there. Something will happen soon. Some explosive. Let's look at this. Okay. Oh, this just tells me that Amazon's in a desert. It's kind of like a saying where like it's just going, it's consolidating. It's going sideways. I'd have to read more about it. Their physical business. What good could happen, for their business that could affect the stock positively. So again, I'm not too confident on the direction of Amazon. Nothing obvious for me personally. So I would not take a trade on this one. Yeah, like I said, I'm looking for something obvious like we found with Intel, Novo, Palantir, some other things we found last time. Okay. I can look at GLD next, as someone asked. We know gold's going for, GC Gold's F is going for that 4750 open state, like Biggin presented the other day. Only a matter of time till that closes from his research. So what price of gold's going higher? GLD is obviously going higher. So we can assume the price of gold, GLD, will continue to go higher. But let's look on the fractal here. See what can happen. It's kind of interesting. Standard deviation didn't come down the gold zone, just went sideways, went back up. A lot of times we see this, we see a big expansion above pivot and above purple vector following day or next. Price can come down, have a little compression, and meet with this purple vector for support, and then expand higher. Yeah, I explained that a little bit earlier. Let's look at the options analyzer. Yeah, see, there's not a lot of odds for H2. L1. Let's go wave 7. I haven't clicked on wave 20 60 minute for anything yet. Let's look at that. I use wave 20 60 minute a lot. Usually for entry. Make sure I'm entering at a good time within the day. Sometimes the best entries are in the morning, sometimes they're middle of the day or late day. And I like to check the wave 20 60 minute hourly. And it's gone flat the past hour. It was open today. Right below the gray area, so it'll decide if it wants to form an outlier on this time frame, or it'll come down and this adjust 98.70. It's a possibility it come down to. Let's go back to daily. Okay. Above grid area, reclaim vector. No open states, a lot of area right here. Some imprints though. They put our bands on. 20% at 419 and 10% at 447. We know physically in the real world, China could retaliate in some way because of what the U.S. did with Venezuela. They obviously said they don't support what happened there. So it was a violation of international law. They could come up with some kind of chess move kind of thing to us, financial world, which could spike gold further. And we have a 455.46 open state for wave 50 daily. Another example of the standard deviation being extreme right here. Then we had that negative 6% in one day back here, October, if you remember that. The day after, it was pictures of people waiting in line to buy gold around the world. It fell 6%. So we had heavy compression there. That gave the chance for standard deviation to come down and get kind of healthy again. But price continued to go higher. And because it did that, it gives the room to close this open state. I think you can do the math with GC equals F going from current price to 47.50 open state. We can figure out what GLD would do proportionate with GC equals F being at 47.50. Maybe it's 455. It's been up to the extreme for a while. Add some more days. Yeah, even if you add more days, it's been up here for a while. At 4,000 days. Still an open state. Let's go to higher wave. Probably have to add more days, but there's definitely something up there. It's like a 480 or something. On the wave 200, standard deviation is getting up there towards 11.5. It kind of gives us the opportunity after that open state closes at 47.50 for GC equals F. Gives us an opportunity to short gold. That's definitely something we can pull off. We know we usually see compression after closing an open state that's been open for so long. All right, I'll do like 10,000. Gotta be something. No. Okay, so for wave 200, the max wave, oh, that's on here, and 15,000 days of load, there's no open states. Let's see if I do this. All right, I can type it in, right? Wave, no. That's lagging, hold on. But no open states on wave 200 with max amount of days of load. Hold on. I had this thing all lagged up now. Let me try. 1 second, this whole thing's frozen now. All right. Anything else you guys want to look at? I can go down my list. I showed ConocoPhillips earlier on the Wave 200 daily. Mara, so that's Bitcoin mining. We can look at Mara. I played some calls off that last year. It's been a while. I'm guessing this thing's probably about $6, $8, something like that. Okay, it's come back up. Yeah, crypto's been rebounding a little bit. past week or two. Yeah, Mara does have some big runs. It's been an outlier right here, getting past that gray area. 2 open states there. Potential close that. Obviously need crypto to do well for something like this to do well. Kind of like MicroStrategy, same sector of things. Coinbase. This stock makes a lot of compression. You'll notice on some stocks, they compress longer than other stocks. Some have sharp expansion, some don't. Look how long this was compressing for. It shot up, consolidated, but wasn't enough to make anything higher than H6, then more compression. Now we have an H1 again. A pretty big H1. K assignment. If we can get above this gray area, or look at this, it's not even close to open state yet. Or did it wick up to it? 11.13. That's something that could close in a very short term. A lot of times we'll see price there take that out real quick and then revise from that gray area, or it will come down, hit the purple vector for support, and then expand higher. One of those scenarios could play out. I see it happen all the time. Wave 10, very similar story here. Someone tells me this is a big rebound play on a higher wave. Yep. Okay, look at that. Standard deviation. The red or the downwardness of price got to extreme. And you can see it's inverse with the upside. This is something definitely buy stock on. I could probably consider. I have to read more about crypto. I'm not too sure what could happen to crypto anytime soon. Obviously, more rate cuts kind of gives a risk on environment. Crypto's risk on most of the time. It didn't close that open state there, 8.42. Look above these black dots, there's green dots, which is support there. There's probably a percent band there too. Yep, 20% band. So this is something that could definitely rebound further, along with crypto. Made a double bottom there, 860. I had shares of ETHU, which is 2 times leverage Ethereum ETF, which is pretty volatile. Actually, I got stopped out on stock on that one. So it was very volatile. That was a couple months ago or longer. That's the only crypto thing I've traded recently. Yeah, I got stopped out of stock because the stock fell like 20%. It's because 2 times leverage. But Mara, I think they're making money. I had to read about it more. But definitely good rebound play if crypto continues to do well. I'll tell you that. So, but no obvious trade here. I don't know enough about crypto to go long this. But if I were, I'd probably go long shares. It's pretty cheap in price. So, yeah, there's that. Dollar General is a stock that was considering going long on because there was something physical happened there for Dollar General. Dollar General, on their last earnings report a couple months ago, I think it was the CFO, said they're seeing more and more customers that typically shop at Costco or like the fancier markets you guys have around your areas probably. They're going from there and they're going to Dollar General and buying stuff because the prices are obviously more expensive now. The cost of living is at an all-time high. people are finding ways to buy cheaper stuff. And you go to Dollar General for that type of stuff, or Dollar Tree. They're like sister companies. But Dollar General, yeah. Let's look at this more. I guarantee there's an open state somewhere up in here. Yep. 148.89. Look at that. Look at the velocity it has versus purple vector. It's looking like it can close that pretty soon here. Probably a 5% band, or no, it's at 5% band. So this is a potential. That open state's been open for a while. 2020, it's been open since then. Standard deviation can get back to the golden zone, can get more fuel for upside, or can turn to M. I'm thinking it has the fuel both physically and on the technical side to close 148. Hold on, we're at H23. Let's okay. There's not tons of odds, but it goes from 23 to 34, so we can have like a high 25, right? And stop there. So I'm thinking that 148 closes. Wave 50. There's a 162.24 that's open. Wave 100 and 165. A lot of close targets. There's definitely open state up there. Let's see. Okay, a little higher. 188.96. It's doable. That's probably longer term. Probably like next year, end of the year or something. 205. I'm guessing since the physical business, everything is great with Dollar General so far, physically, we could see a cycle like this. We broke above the gray area right here. We had some compression here for a while. Reminds me of like Merck that I showed before. Had some compression, had some explosiveness above the gray area. You can see a big run like this. So this could be something you could take stock on. Long shares. And yeah, that's it for that one. Delete some of this. What else we got? AbbVie was down today. PCG, let's go over that. Pacific Gas and Electric stock. This is a utility company. So on CNBC, they had this as their final trade. If you watch CNBC, that they're going long on Pacific Gas and Electric stock. It's a utility company. I believe mainly out in the West, California, San Francisco area is where they reside. There's been some articles about how they're supporting data centers with power. I think the whole utility energy provider space is a great space to focus on this year. At some point, we'll start seeing blackouts where the power grid just gets overrun. There's not enough power to support all these data centers, right? The news is kind of baked in with all these data center stocks, the tech stocks, but not really the nuclear or the utility energy stocks. So it's definitely something you could focus on this year. That's something I'm personally focusing on a lot. Wave 10, it has to make a continue outlier move above gray area like here. And close those open states there. Nothing too obvious. I wouldn't buy. Now, looking off this, if I start seeing something like this, it entices me to go long. But this has to make a decision. Yeah. So the options analyzer. Okay, so there were some occurrences there, but big drop off. Whole bunch of ones. Most likely to get our L1 soon. Let's look at the longer term though. 16.85. Open state there. It's pretty close. There's an 18.90. Remember the last stock I just showed? It had compression. It had something like this where we had a big H1 above the gray area. Then we compressed back into the gray area. It's a pivot. And then it expands here. Compression, expansion. It's kind of like a V shape right here. Similar to Merck. I showed that before. Same thing. This happens a lot with stocks. Similar pattern I'm seeing. Went from here, H1, made this H1 compressed. Now we have this expansion, and we can see that occur. That's what I'm thinking right now. As long as we don't see weakness follow after this candle. Yeah, look at that. So it's like in the elevator, metaphorically, for upside here. It reclaimed the purple vector. It just needs to consolidate, just have some support here. And it looks great for H1 on wave 50, or 150. Same with 200. This to me looks like a stock you go long on shares. I don't see anything in the short waves and irrigations for calls. I don't see anything obvious. But definitely, as I showed on the wave 200, wave 150, you look here in the option analyzer. Not much odds of any more lows compared to the 9 occurrences of H1. This is something you can go long on shares of. I'm pretty confident on. I'll look at the fractal here and from what I know of it physically. And that wraps it up for this one. All right. What else can we look at? Pfizer's a pretty volatile one. UPS, rebound name. We can look at that. If you haven't looked at UPS, the linear chart, it's been beaten down the past few years. They broke away from Amazon. Many other things occurred for price to go lower. But these rate cuts should indirectly help Amazon's business, because if there's rate cuts, interest rates on your credit card go down, which leaves consumers more credit to spend. And if they're spending more online, there's more packages that need to be delivered via Amazon or UPS, sorry, UPS. So you see better earnings from rate cuts indirectly. As far as a fractal, wave 7 here, H2, K. Looks like upside's getting started here. Same thing, wave 10. Oh, this looks kind of goofy. I've not seen anything too obvious yet tonight. I'll say that, besides the shares of GH I explained earlier, and potentially PayPal. You said SE. I can look that up in a second here. Yep. Click through this real quick. Actually, I just want to show the long-term charts of UPS. Yeah. A lot of times, if I'm very confident in the wave 100s, wave 100, 150, 200, and price is close to open state, I'll just ignore the smaller waves, aggregations, and just focus with what I see in the longer term. And instead of buying shares, I'll just buy deep in the money, far out calls instead of shares. Actually, I think I did that with UPS back in here. So that's definitely a strategy to incorporate. And it's cheaper than buying shares. Yeah, if you look at this, wave 100, right? Yeah, options are cheaper. Gives you more leverage on strategies. So we know price is close to these two open states here. One was created not too long ago. The other one's been open for a while. What was it? 103.49 has been open for a while, which is right by the top of the gray area. If we can see some explosion here, top of the gray area, even just by a little bit, we can assume it continues to expand and close these open states, at least perform the average move in these imprint here, and potentially 122, the imprint there. So that's something that could occur. Yeah, look at wave 50, 150 compared to 100. In wave 100, we don't know if it's going to get explosive yet beyond the gray area. It could go down and follow below the line. But if you look at 150, it goes to show that it's just getting started rebounding in price. And we have 102.77, 105.33. So 102.77, that would close that. 105, open state, which is right here above gray area. Look at that. So just by looking at 150 compared to 100, it tells me that the odds of price breaking above the gray area is pretty high. And what happens when it breaks above gray area? It gets explosive. And we have K, it's green, standard deviation. Wave 200, same thing. So this is a great rebound play. I'd probably look for far out calls on UPS in the money instead of shares. Low delta, so not much volatility. And then play that. Let's say you can pick a date depending on the open interest and the options chain. But let's, for example, just say in March. We pick March. We pick 95 call, something like that. We can go along that. But with what I just said, comparing 150 and 200 to 100, it kind of gives price the excuse to break beyond the gray area, if you can get what I'm explaining, and get explosive and close these open states there and tail the imprints. And that's what I'm thinking. And like I said about the rate cut situation, soon Trump will appoint a new Fed chair, Seb Powell, someone else who wants more rate cuts, who will make it happen. And we know we'll get that new person around March. So maybe we pick the March date for calls. That's what I'm thinking. So I'm gonna write this down for UPS. This is not something I'm saying I'll probably enter right away, but I'm definitely watching this for longs. Like I said, March, in the money, 95. I know the direction, but I don't know the timing, right? Like Intel, we knew the direction, we didn't know the timing. That's why I picked February. Look how long this thing's been compressing for. It can compress for another month. So why would I buy a contract a month out, right? So I'll go a little further out, March maybe, It looks good. And it shouldn't be too expensive. UPS has cheap premiums on the money premiums. Look at the linear chart of UPS. This is a huge turnaround play. Yeah. I mean, even more compression than Novo. And it's an economy stock, UPS is. So the worse the economy does, the more bandages the Fed will have to do for the economy, which will help UPS stock. Since stocks are forward looking, Wave 200 just got above this purple vector. So those are my thoughts for UPS. I'm actually pretty confident on this from what I just explained. Yeah, I can do a rep in the SEPs channel, the SEP analysis channel if you guys start checking that. I will post something about UPS regarding what I just explained. I'll post that in that channel soon here. I'll go over the options soon. I'll pick something I like. I'll have to look over it. It'll probably take a little bit. But this is not something I'm rushing into. Even though it does look pretty good. This is something longer term, midterm probably, I'd say is fair. So yeah, that's it for UPS. TLT, I still have some calls on this. They're in the money. I'm moving up to January 2027. This is a bond ETF, long-term bond ETF, 20-year plus. Similar to UPS, it's been compressing for a while under pivot, under purple vector. And it wants to reclaim purple vector. Let's see. So the thing is with TLT and bonds in general, there's a floor with bonds, especially the long-term bonds, because if bonds get too low in price, the yield, which is inverse to bond price, goes up. So the lower bonds go, the higher yields go, and the higher yields go, the higher rates go. The average American can't afford higher rates, right? This economy can't afford slowdown. And Trump doesn't want slowdown, we know that. So I have labeled Fed put area here at 83 because anytime TLT has gotten this low or bonds gotten this low, the Fed has immediately stepped in and done something to help bonds go higher. So it offers opportunity to maybe sell at 83 put, right? And then buy a put somewhere else. There's many option strategies you can do. A lot of institutions are doing something like that. So this is something I'm long when the market, or not just the market, but think of anything that are assets, home prices, properties, land, commodities, equities. When all those go down or deflate, there's one thing that always goes up, and that's bonds, TLT. Just remember that. And yeah, that's basically I got it for tonight. I'll write up more things in this setup analysis chat. But like I said, GH stock for shares is something I'm gonna take this week. I'll enter that. I still have shares of METC, the coal stock. I think some people took that. And then I'll continue to write up PayPal, COP, UPS, and the sub analysis. So, end of story tonight. Nothing too obvious I've seen for taking a trade into the rest of this week for entry, which is okay. We just had a great hit with Intel and many others. We don't need to get greedy and search for another big hit right away, right? We can wait a couple days or a week or so and continue to research. And UPS might be the next one that runs big. And they have earnings coming up, I believe. So maybe things get better. So yeah, that's what I got for tonight, guys.